Welcome to the 86th episode of the Meeple Society, podcast about board games hosted by two longtime role players turned avid board gamers. My name is Katie.
I'm Greg.
On this episode, we venture into some non-board game discussion, but bring it back around with updates on Meeople Live 2025. We talk a bit about our top 100, respond to a comment from last episode, and finally we wrap it up with a breakdown of Scoville 2nd edition.
Okay, so what we're going to talk about with everything going on in the board game world, that's kind of depressing with things that are going on.
It's very depressing. It's very political.
Without really talking about it.
Yeah.
Because we don't like giving our political views about everything.
I don't want to turn this into a political podcast.
Correct.
I absolutely do not. So therefore, we're just going to...
So we're going to sidetrack everybody.
Talk about happier things.
And talk about... Well, the way I see it is like, if the board game hobby went away, what else do you do? What do you watch on TV? If it's not a board game video of some sort of how to play or a top 10 or something, what else do you watch?
So what do you watch outside of board game content? Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong, we watch a lot of board game content.
Yes, we do.
It kind of comes with the territory, and we have a lot of friends who create content, so we like to support and watch their stuff.
Because we watch the Dice Tower, a lot of the stuff on
We watch the Dice Tower. We watch
Tabletop Toolbox.
Tabletop.
We don't watch. He does.
God, I just totally tongue twisted on the name of his channel.
Sorry, Jeff. Anyway, but he does a weekly Ratchet. So if you guys haven't watched it, check it out. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun just to sit and listen to him talk. So
and ramble.
We watch a lot of Brothers Murph. We do watch some of their stuff. Those are really the three we watch the most of. Mm-hmm. But anyway,
okay. So
outside of that,
so what do you stream? Because that's the thing now. Because we don't have cable, we have YouTube TV.
We have YouTube TV, which does have live television.
Services. Yes, it does. But we don't. We very rarely turn on a network program.
No, we do not. Very rarely. I think one of the few we watch that is actually network right now, which we never actually catch when it's on. We always watch it after it's been recorded. Is Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage or something like that? The Young Sheldon spinoff.
Yep. Yeah, that way we can watch it whenever. We don't have to set a time,
right?
We just have it.
It's just set to record and done. But that's really the only network thing we're watching right now.
And some of you, if you're trying to figure out what, there's a lot of networks. We're talking about here in the United States, we have ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox. And the CW, I think, is like the main network. I don't even know if the CW is really considered a network. I don't think
CW is considered a main network.
Now, you watch a lot of Hallmark.
I do watch a lot of Hallmark. And they have various series on there that I've gotten into.
Yeah, it's nothing like coming home in like May, June, July, August, September. And there's a Christmas show on.
I don't watch the Christmas movies as much anymore. Usually those, unless like January, February, I'm trying to catch up from December. Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. By now, I'm done with those. I've actually been binge watching all of the Aurora Tea Garden mysteries lately because the new one came out and they're started. So I was binge watching all of those because they had a marathon of them. So I've been binge watching those. I just finished watching one. I let the whole season record. It's on season 3 now, called The Way Home. And it's about 3 women, 3 generations of women who takes place up in Canada. Mm-hmm. That there was a falling out years ago, and it jumps through time quite a bit. And that's the whole premise of this series, is that there is a pond on, and this is not a spoiler, it's in every episode. There's a pond on the property that will allow certain people, it will take you to where you need to be in someplace else in time. So 2 of the one teenager that discovered it at the beginning of the series and her mom have both been time jumping, trying to make things right in other, and that's not even correct really, but to find out more about their family history it's just been very, very interesting series. The whole thing stems around the disappearance of the little brother 25 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever it's been now. and trying to find him. And I'm not going to spoil everything as to what happened. So I avoided watching it until it was about halfway through the second season. Then finally it just intrigued me enough. I had to go back and binge watch the whole thing. And I have really, really enjoyed this series. Just the dynamics between the three women involved is really good. So anyway, love that series. So that's one I've been binge watching, but now season 3 is done and I have to wait a whole year again. So.
Right. Well, let's talk about stuff that the two of us have been watching.
Okay, fine. You're the one who brought up Hallmark.
Enough Hallmark. I didn't think we was going to do a 30-minute podcast on the Hallmark channel.
Not talk 30 minutes.
Okay, everybody, do you listen to the Hallmark channel? Of those of you who are actually listening to this podcast.
Do you watch?
We'll see. Comment if you listen.
Watch.
Or comment if you've never even heard of the Hallmark channel, or those are too many sappy movies. Anyway.
Oh, my goodness.
So things that we've been watching other than George and Mandy. We just got done running through the series of Reba's new series of Happy's Place.
Happy's Place. That was good.
Mm-hmm.
I have to admit, the first couple episodes, I was a little leery.
Yeah.
The writing was not that great.
Yeah. And the bad thing is, one of the guys in the show, he doesn't have great acting skills, I don't think. But he becomes one of your favorite character, and that's
Dakota. I think it's Dakota, because on the last episode, one of them, it definitely sounded like a T, and I thought, have I been mishearing this the whole season? Yeah, look that up. But yes, you're right. His acting skills, at least the way he portrays this character, are not great. This is a Native American.
It is Dakota.
Dakota. See, I told you.
I thought it was Dakota.
And the actor's last name is Black Elk.
Yes.
Or something. I've noticed that.
It's Tokala Black Elk.
Yes. Because of course, they don't show you in the opening segment of the show, each episode, they don't show you who's who. They just list their names as they're going through little snippets of the various clips. But he's very obvious who it is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, but the character very quickly turned into my favorite character on the show.
Yes, because he just says, he's so honest.
And so deadpan.
He is your typical, like in the Old West movies, your typical Native American.
Yes.
The serious on all of his voice and very deep as he speaks.
And then he grins, and that grin is just hysterical. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I absolutely adore that character. But I wasn't real keen on some of the writing at the very beginning. I thought it was very shallow. But as the series went on, it did get better.
Yeah, because the whole cast started to grow together.
The cast started to meld, and you started to see those intricacies of the dynamics that were built, and it was actually pretty good. I'm still not 100% sold on Isabella's character.
Yeah,
she's very flaky.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure about that.
I'm not real sure about Isabella, but the rest of the characters I absolutely adore. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to hopefully a second season. We'll see if it comes out.
Yeah, so this has Melissa Peterman plays Gabby. She is from
Reba's first show. Yeah, from Reba.
Reba. Yeah. She played the lady who married Reba's ex-husband, if you've ever saw Reba.
Yeah.
Then we have Rex Lynn, which is Emmett. And if you've ever watched Young Sheldon, he was like the principal or something like that in that show.
Yeah, I think so.
He's been in other things, and right now I can't, off the top of my head, think of what ones is. Then it's Belissa Escobedo. This is the first time I've ever seen her. She plays Isabella.
Yeah, she looks like somebody new.
I've never seen. Of course, Reba McEntire plays Bobby, which is basically the star of the lead character. And Pablo Castablanco plays Steve, who is very OCD.
Oh my God!
And germophobic.
Yes, I love his character also. He is so funny. And
then Tokala Black Elk, who plays Dakota. And the whole premise of the show is that Bobby, Reba McEntire's dad, owned a bar called Happy's Place, and he passed away, and now it's Bobby's.
Right.
But then in comes Isabella in the first episode, and the lawyer shows up to read the will and says, Isabella, you're part of this too. And then that's when they find out they're actually sisters.
Right.
And Isabella, of course, is Hispanic. And so it just plays off. I mean, as Southern as Reba McEntire is with the Hispanic sister now, it just kind of plays off of each other.
Yeah.
So it was actually pretty good. I was enjoying it, like you said.
Yeah.
Close to the end of the season, you got used to the characters and knew what to expect.
Exactly. I feel like they built the chemistry between the characters very well by the end of the series, the end of the season. So I'll be curious to see if it makes a second season. I'm glad we stuck it out and didn't just give up after the first few episodes, because I thought the first few episodes were kind of eh. Like I said, I wasn't real keen on some of the writing. It was very one-dimensional.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, that's one of the things we've been watching. Last night, we also wrapped up season 3 of Wheel of Time.
Now we got to wait 2 more years.
Hopefully only a year, but it's still a freaking year away. Mm-hmm. So Wheel of Time, it's on Amazon Prime. It is based on Robert Jordan. His book series, like 14 books, I think was the final count. Mm-hmm. Aforenamed Wheel of Time. I read this series. I was turned on to this series years and years and years ago, and to the book series. I think I stopped reading at 8. I had caught up, and by the time the next one had finally come out, I just never got back into them.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Well, he died before the series was
did,
done.
And somebody else picked up his notes and finished the last 2 books. So, but it was based on the notes he had already written. So I need to reread the whole series. I really do, because, like I said, I stopped at book 8 or 9, somewhere in there. But so far, like I said, there's been 3 series. From what I remember of the first 3 or 4 books, I think it is following pretty closely. I could be completely wrong, because, again, it's been 20, 25 years since I've read the series.
Yeah, I read like the first 2 chapters of the first book, and I didn't really, well, yeah, I think, because the beginning of that book, it's the Trollocs fights at the beginning, and that kept me interested, and then just the kind of like I call it the fluff in between the next big scene just kind of lost me. Yeah.
Well, Robert Jordan describes things very, very detailed, and he definitely creates a picture in your mind if you read through all the details. That being said, because of it, his books are, 500 pages long. And I did enjoy them. The 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, whatever I read, I don't remember where I stopped now. And I have them all. I just have never bothered finishing the series. But anyway, the TV series, absolutely fantastic so far.
Yeah. I thought the first one, that the acting was a little...
Right. It took time. I think it took a couple episodes for them to find their ground, to find their feet in these characters, because the characters are very, very fleshed out in the book. You can't have a 500-page book, 16 books in the series, without the characters being really fleshed out. I think it took a while, and all of these are newer actors. I don't think I've seen any of them in anything before.
No.
At least I'm sure some of the, like the woman who plays Moraine, and the gentleman who plays, she looks familiar. She's English, I know that. And the guy who plays Lan, I'm sure they're both older actors. I'm sure they've been in other things. We've just never seen them in anything before. But all of the kids, and I say kids, they're all in their probably mid-20s. But Egwene and Nineveh, and I know that's not how they pronounce it on there, but that's how I pronounced it in my head for all 8 or 9 books, and I can't get past it now. But Egwene and Nineveh and Rand and Matt and Perrin, they're all young actors, and I've never seen them in anything before. So
the Daniel Henry, who plays Lan,
okay,
was a voice in Big Hero 6.
Oh, wow.
Wondering who he was in Big Hero 6.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of that voice.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to like.
It's like, who did he play?
Who did he voice over?
But the premise with Wheel of Time is that...
Oh, he was Tadashi.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't Tadashi the
That was
main
the older
character?
brother.
The older brother was Tadashi?
I think Tadashi was the older brother. Right? Am I wrong? Heck, I don't remember.
It's been so long since we've
I
seen that
know.
movie, too, now.
Anyway.
Because there's Hiro, or Hiro, Hiro, Hiro.
Hiro is the young kid.
Okay, so
Tadashi was the older brother.
Yeah, okay. So
Correct
he played
us
Tadashi.
if we're wrong.
So he
Okay,
played Tadashi.
I can see that. That was still a very
Cool.
long time ago.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, the premise with Wheel of Time is that it takes you into a world where 3,000 years ago, the world was broken due to a large battle over a power called the One Power, or the ones that called the Source. And women can channel this just fine with no problems, but men, it causes insanity in. And 3,000 years ago, there was a battle with a man, Luce Theron, that basically what they call broke the world. Mm-hmm. It took what was a high technical, high society world and took them almost back to the Stone Age.
Medieval days.
Well, there you go, medieval days. So you're back to horse and wagon and no electricity and the whole works. So, and the world in the 3,000 years has never rebuilt back to what it used to be. But there's been prophesied for 3,000 years of the dragon being reborn. Well, now all of a sudden it's happened. And one of the main characters, I'm not going to spoil who in the event that you have never watched it and are interested in doing so, but one of the main characters, one of those 5 kids, is the dragon reborn. And Moraine, who is an Aes Sedai, which is basically a sister that is trained in how to use the One Power, how to use the Source for what appears to be magic. So this is kind of like Star Wars with the Force. It's the same concept. Mm-hmm. So it's just a really neat series. I love the way they're doing this. The special effects are really good, especially for a TV series, even though it's Amazon, but still. I really like this one. If you like Harry Potter, this might be something to look into. It's along those same lines as some of the Harry Potter genre.
Yep. I did find out, I knew Moraine has always looked real familiar to me.
Okay.
And I found out what
you've been
movie
searching this whole time?
I've watched the movie. I don't think you've ever watched the movie, but she was in the movie Jack Reacher. It's Rosamund Pike. She was in the movie with Jack Reacher. Jack Reacher was played by Tom Cruise.
I think I've seen bits of it.
It's about a ex... I don't want to call him... He wasn't... I don't think he was a Navy SEAL. I can't remember exactly his background, but he's military.
Okay.
But she was the lawyer or agent that he was reporting into every once in a while. She played the
I may have to watch it. I'm not a big Tom Cruise fan, but I may have to watch it just to see.
No, it's...
Because that's an older series. That's an older movie, isn't it?
Let me see. When did that come out? That came out in 2012. So,
okay.
Yeah, so
it's 10 years old, 12 years old.
12 years old.
Yeah, I may have to watch it just to see her in an older
She's blonde
setting.
in that movie,
I think
too.
That's her natural hair color is blonde, actually.
Yeah, because ever since the first one, I was like, man, she looks familiar. Where do I know her from? And I'd watched the movie a couple times now.
Yeah. Okay.
I was like, that made sense now.
So some of the other stuff we've been watching. We watch all the Marvel stuff.
Yes, we've watched. I guess we kind of dragged our way through the first series of Andor.
Yeah.
We still didn't understand it.
I mean, there's still a lot of things that I have questions on, but I'm hoping the second season explains
the one thing
some of
we
that.
understood is that it's the beginning of the rebellion.
Yes, it is the formation of the rebellion.
Yeah, it's what happened to form the rebellion, and now season 2 is as the rebellion has been formed, and it's starting to... Because I've seen some previews, and the girl from Rogue One is in this episode. Is she really? Is in there, yeah. She's been in some of the scenes that I've seen of trailers for this.
Oh, interesting.
So
because they didn't meet until after Rogue One. So
I thought I seen Darth Vader in it, too. I think, if it's the trailer I'm thinking about.
Interesting.
But yeah, it looks a little more Star Wars-ish than the first one. I think that was our problem. It was hard to get through because it didn't feel like Star Wars.
Right.
It just felt like another sci-fi kind
space thing,
movie.
Yeah. Interesting.
But anyway, so it'll be interesting to see.
What happens with season 2?
Because we tried watching
We tried watching it
3 or 4
multiple times.
and finally said, okay, we're going to have to sit down and see what everybody's talking about. We're still not trying.
Yeah.
We're still trying to figure out what everybody was
Right.
talking about.
I think it was still good. Like I said, I enjoyed it. The acting was good. The writing was good. Even the filming was it was very interesting. But yeah, the storyline was hard to follow.
I had a hard time getting past in the prison scenes that the supervisor was Claw.
Yeah, from Marvel. Yeah,
Yeah, from Black Panther.
yeah, that's true.
But
And he had his arm.
Because as
Go
soon as I
figure.
seen that, I was like going, it's Claw. Anyway, though, but we also got through the series, The Skeleton Crew.
Yes.
From Star Wars, which
Sarah turned me on
turned
to.
us, yeah.
She said that they started watching it, but it felt very Disney-ish to them.
And it does.
It does. I can totally see that. That being said, she gave up after the 3rd episode. We continued watching it mostly because we had nothing else to watch. But I liked it.
Yeah.
By the end of it, it kind of tied everything together. I thought it was pretty good. And again, it brings in the rebellion. Well, it brings in the New Republic. It's set in the days of the early New Republic.
Yeah.
It talks about the Old Republic a lot.
Yes.
But I think that, it was very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spoil it for
Yeah, I was
you.
going to say, we don't want to really do more spoilers, but did you know Jaleel White was in this movie?
Jaleel White. Who's that?
Urkel?
No. Who
Yes.
was he?
He was one of the pirates.
Oh, well, that would be why.
And-
the makeup was really good.
No, I thought about it when I
Really?
seen. Yes,
I didn't notice it then.
When they go back, I'm going to try and do this
Is spoiler free?
When they go back to that one planet
Okay.
with the storm
Uh-huh.
near the end,
Yeah.
and the captain of the ship, the failed Jedi guy,
Yeah.
goes down to the planet, and he's still on the ship. He's the
Yeah.
one that's sitting in the captain's chair.
Is he really? I'm going to have to go back and
Jaleel
watch
White.
that episode because I did not recognize him.
Yeah. I'm sorry if I spoiled anything, but I was trying to do it the best I could.
Interesting.
But yeah, there you go. That's something to look forward to for Jaleel White. See if
Yeah.
you can figure out who Jaleel White's character is, though.
All right.
But
Anyway.
I forgot that the main as we called him, the failed Jedi, because we figured that might be what he was.
That we figured early on that's probably what he was.
he does explain it in the movie.
He does. He does
But-
explain exactly how he came
But
about.
That was Jude Law. I haven't seen Jude Law in a long time.
Really?
But yeah, that's Jude Law.
I knew he looked familiar and I just could not place him.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Anyway, but yeah, I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting. There were some definite twists in it that you never were quite sure who to trust.
Yeah.
You know, who was a good guy and who was a bad guy. So I thought it was pretty good.
So now we're looking for something else to
Yes.
stream. I know Justin wants us to stream. What is the name of that show now? It's the soccer coach show. It's on Peacock or
I thought it was on Apple TV.
yeah, maybe it's on Apple TV.
Yeah.
What is the name of that? There's a board game that came out just a year or two ago about it too.
I cannot remember.
I can't remember the name of the show. Justin, if you're listening to this, let us know in the comments.
Yes. So, and that's one reason we brought this up is, guys, we're out of things to watch.
We need things to watch. We need things to stream. So recommend some stuff for us to stream.
Yeah, because we like to send. That being said, we usually, by the time he gets home from work, we've only got a couple hours from the time Greg gets home from work and I head to bed because I have to get up very early for work.
Mm-hmm.
So we like to just sit and relax for those couple of hours, typically.
Especially on nights I have to cook.
Right. And that's a whole nother story. Because I don't cook, guys. Spoilers, I don't cook.
Nope.
Anyway.
Well, you cook a few. You have like 3 little staples, and
We used to joke that I cook 3 times a year. I've already cooked 4 this year. I'm done. I'm just saying.
and it's only April.
And it's only April. So my cooking responsibilities for the year is up. Anyhow, so we're looking for something that we can stream that is not horribly graphic. Now, that being said, Wheel of Time is pretty graphic, but I still like the series.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't want to stream Lost, and I don't want to stream, what is that other one that's really graphic that everybody loves?
The Walking Dead.
Yes, that's one of them. I don't want to stream that. Thank you, but no. But things like that,
More interesting, like sci-fi
yeah.
or
so anyway,
space or something.
Comedy.
Yep.
Comedy's always good. So anyway.
Even if it's a TV series, we can probably find it some way to stream all the seasons.
Let us know what we're missing, please.
Yep.
All right, let's move on.
So before we move on, one more thing.
Okay.
As of this recording, it is April 19th. Tomorrow is April 20th.
Oh, no.
And it's Katie's birthday. I'll spare you of saying how old you are unless you really want to say how old you are.
No, that is not polite to ask that.
She's 2 years younger than me.
Okay.
But I just had to say that. Happy birthday. I'd be the first one to tell you happy birthday, even though it's a day early.
Right. Yeah. Unfortunately, it falls on Easter, so we're not going to be able to do much to celebrate, but it is what it is. We're celebrating next weekend with a big game day. So
yes. Yep.
So we'll do that then.
Okay. Now we can move on.
Okay.
So Meeple Live, our 24-hour live stream for Extra Life, is starting June 8th at 8 p.m. and running until June 9th at 8 p.m. So put that in your calendars. I'm sure at one point we're going to start putting up the icons or whatever you want to call it on YouTube as a reminder that, hey, it's coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Like Justin normally does, but probably won't be until the end of May before he can put them up there. But just keep that in the back of your head. Write it down someplace. Post it on your computer, your TV, whatever you want to do, so you can remember to watch it.
Absolutely.
And we've had a lot of fun. Last year, David, our Australian friend,
yes,
he actually played the last game with us.
He did.
From Australia, which I thought was absolutely cool.
That was so much fun.
We played Wits and Wagers, and we brought him out a color, and he was that color, and he got to answer the questions, and he got a bid on things. It just made it so cool. It was we was able to interact with our people in the live stream.
Yeah, that was so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
That really was.
And of course, we will have a live stream going up, and this is actually going to be broadcast on the Meeple Society server, the YouTube channel, the Meeple of Nerds YouTube channel, because that's why it's called Meeple Live, because it's a joint effort between Meeple Society and Meeple of Nerds.
Correct.
We do have a new group coming in with us this year. It is called Fantasy Now Plus. It's a fantasy football channel.
Yeah.
Run by our son Justin. So they're gonna come in, and what it is this year is we are going to have places where you go to click on to pledge on the links that we will provide during the stream. You can choose which group you want to back. And remember, you're hearing this on the Meeple Society.
plug.
But it's kind of I don't want to say it's a contest, because every bit of this money goes to Extra Life and the Children's Miracle
Network.
It's
more for bragging rights.
Yes, it's more for they like us more.
Yes,
kind of thing. But yeah, everything you click on that button, you send money. We don't see anything. It goes instantly to Extra Life, and Extra Life will put it into the children's hospital that we'd like to sponsor. And right now, it's mostly Riley Hospital. Jeff has talked about from Tabletop Toolbox of possibly coming out.
He
hasn't figured it out if he can make it or not, though. And if that happens, then we will put Tabletop Toolbox on there too.
Absolutely.
So just remember that it is what I say again. June 8th is when it starts.
It should be June 6th.
It says starting June 8th at 8 p.m.
June
is what his banner is saying.
He needs to change it because it's June 6th.
Okay.
June 6th is a Friday.
Justin, you heard that if you're listening.
Yep, June 6th and 7th. 8 p.m. June 6th to 8 p.m. June 7th, though it always ends up running about half an hour to an hour longer than we planned, but, whatever.
Yeah. And it's going to be like, what is it? It's like 3 or 4 streams, so you're going to be watching. It's like they go in 8-hour sets, so we can't stream the entire 24 hours in a row.
YouTube won't let us.
But we'll stream for 8 hours, and then we'll say, hey, we're switching to the next one. Then you'll have to back out and click on the next one.
Right.
And it'll continue. It's not like we're going to stop for hours and then start back up. No, it's a straight 24. It's just each section can only be 8 hours.
YouTube will only let you live stream for 12 hours.
Is it 12? Okay.
Yeah, and we didn't want to risk getting completely cut off at the 12-hour mark.
Yeah.
So we decided to break it up into 3 8-hour blocks instead. And that way it gave us a little bit of wiggle room in the event a game ran long or whatever.
Yeah. And
So-
trying to schedule that with games, it was
Yes.
really hard. I mean, if you watched it last year, there was a few times you'll see me and Justin come in and it's like, where are we at on the game? Because we
Yeah.
was like real close to having to flip to the next one and everything. But this
Yeah.
year we may just say, hey guys, we got to flip to the next one. We'll be here when you get back, and
Yeah,
just continue on
not
with
stress
the game that
about
way,
it so
though.
much. So
And we've started a list of games.
we have, and I've
Of course, you didn't bring it in there, or do you? Have it
no,
with you?
I do. Give me a second.
Because some of the games we've thought about playing. Now we don't have the list for
Video games.
the video.
So yes,
games
we're going to be doing,
part,
and
but-
just as and you may have said this, and I sidetracked. I don't know, but we're going to be doing video games. Meeple Nerds is bringing some video games because that is, I don't want to say the focus of their channel, but it is a good chunk of their channel.
Yeah,
is
they
video
do a
games.
lot of video games, and
So
they're doing one that I thought was really cool. Is
The
they're
rating all their
rating all the
Segas.
Sega
Yeah.
Genesis games.
But they're doing video games. Of course, we're doing the board game side of it. And of course, Doug and Mary will be in on the board games too, because that's how we met them, was board games. And then my brother is going to come in here into our studio on this giant table we have in here. And he has 3D printed the boards from HeroScape. HeroScape? Yeah. And he is going to run basically a campaign for the entire 24 hours. He's just going to run through one scenario after another. So there will be players swapping in and out, and we'll come in and just kind of check on them every once in a while. It's not going to be solely that, but I'm really curious to see these boards he's 3D printed and is painting.
You know what? This is
Are you just
something
having
in
an
my
idea?
head, but I may just talk to Justin about it first before I say anything. So,
Well, no, you have to share.
well, we technically have a Twitch channel.
Okay. Oh.
If Justin can help me figure it out, because I've never tried to figure it out yet, and
Live stream the whole thing on that.
stream it on Twitch for just that game.
Oh, that would be interesting.
That might be interesting. It might be another way for us to be able to get pledges in from. And
Yeah.
I'll see. Me
I don't know
and
if that's
Justin will look
possible.
over how to do that if it's possible.
Hey, if anybody out there knows anything about Twitch and can help us out with that, by all means, reach out.
Yeah.
So some of the games we are looking at for this one, and this is not a comprehensive list, it is still very much in fluctuation, but we're looking at doing possibly Transmissions, Cosmic Encounter, Flip 7. That one's happening. I have been told that the next episode of The Goonies must happen because it's become an annual thing now
Yeah,
for those
'cause-
5 players.
Yes, because
Which I find funny because neither of us are even in it.
No, we're not.
So, but that's
Joe,
okay.
Joe will have to take a break.
Joe
from
will have to
this.
take a break from this to go do that. Yeah, that's true. All right. Middle Ages, Ito, which we have not even played yet. So that may be the first play we get in it of it, but we'll
Right.
see.
I know how to play it because I
Right.
showed you how to play it.
Right. But we've
But
not
yes.
played it yet. Anyway.
Maybe we'll take that with us to a game.
Oh,
night
that's a
tonight.
good idea. The Game, Jakarta Traffic, Landmarks. That one's always lots of good conversation.
I think Jakarta Traffic would actually be pretty good too. If you haven't
Yeah.
seen it, stay tuned. Watch the video because it's liable to be in there.
Yeah. Galaxy Trucker. I think that would be pure chaos, but it would be fun to watch.
Yep. Sorry, David. You'll have to struggle through
I
watching
am
that.
not going to be in that one. Sorry about your luck. Gizmos, Costa Rica. I actually thought about this one because I can pull out the big copy that I'm handmade.
Costa Rica.
It's the one where you're taking
Oh,
pictures
it's an
and
old
you're trying
Mayfair
not to
game.
get the bugs in
That's
them.
an old Mayfair.
It
game, too,
is.
though. I thought you probably did that last year.
Nope, we did not.
Okay.
River Valley Glassworks, and of course Hero Quest. So those are the ones that we're looking at right now. If you can think of anything else that we've missed, that one you know we
and
have
I'm sure
access to.
I'm sure there's some other ones that we're
Oh, I'm
thinking about playing.
sure.
So
And everyone I thought it because originally I had put, oh my gosh, the one with the gangsters on here, Family Business. But we played that in 23.
yeah. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
So we're trying not to repeat games we've already played.
Yeah.
But there's going to come a point where we might have to repeat
Yeah,
some
and
games.
they don't all have to be new.
No,
I
we
mean,
pull
we're
out old
playing
ones.
some old ones, though,
I
but-
mean, for goodness sakes, Costa Rica's on the list.
Yeah, and technically we only need about 12 hours of board
Yeah.
gaming because 12 hours is also split
Well, we've got the
between
video games,
games
and we've got the stuff in
Hero
here, in here, in the
Hero
studio,
Quest,
the
yes.
Hero Quest, yeah. So anyway, lots more to come on that. It's a super fun weekend. If you're in the Indianapolis area and you have
free time,
even an inclination to join us, reach out, because we'll always, it turns into just a big game weekend.
Yeah, because we're going to have other tables set up around the house that everybody can just sit down and just play games.
Yes.
And then if you want to be on the live stream when a new game comes in, it's like, hey, I'd love to play that game. You're more than welcome to jump in.
Exactly.
So because me and Katie we don't always have to be on it.
Well, matter of fact, we split up a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think we played even one game together last year, except
we
for the very ending.
first game.
The very first and the very last.
Yeah, because I think the first game every year, it's me, you, Doug, and Mary at least in it.
Yeah.
So, but So this year maybe it's me, you, Doug, Mary, Justin, and if Jeff shows up, so it's all the representatives from all the groups
That's
that
a good
are
idea.
in on it.
Yeah.
That's the first game.
So, and just make it something short so that people aren't standing around waiting. I don't know. Anyway.
So, Mr. Jeff Knapp, make up your mind. Are you coming or not?
All right. Well, let's move on.
New releases.
So you've been pretty busy with the videos.
Yes.
We have...
Of course, they're all top 100s.
We have... Yeah. Well, though, like you've said, those aren't easy to do. I mean, they're not...
They're not complicated,
hard,
but they still take time to get through them.
And you have a template from the last year's and everything. So, but you have the top 100 of 70 to 61, 60 to 51, 50 to 41, 30 to 31, and
40 to 31.
40 to 31, 30 to 31, yeah. That's a really short list.
Very, very short list.
And that's when we start going back up.
Right.
Anyway, so 40 to 31, and then 30 to 21 should be out
tomorrow.
So it's coming out. Happy Easter. There you go. You get to see 30 to
right.
21. Now, to let you know, all of them are recorded, although we do have some sound problems on 10 to 1.
We may have to go back to 10 to 1. Yes.
So we may have to re-record 10 to 1.
For some reason, my microphone was not picking up properly, and you can, every now and then I sound very hollow, and it's hard to hear me, so we may have to re-record that one.
It'll be very dramatic as we act like we're surprised of each other's numbers.
That being said, by the time we re-record it, I will have forgotten what your 10 to 1 is, except for one.
I'll scramble them all up now. So all of them change. No. No. Anyway, okay, but that's all the videos that we have out.
Yes.
So it's now time for questions and comments.
So we got a lot of comments, but we'll talk about the first one from last week's from
the last
episode 85.
Yep. James Brazil stated on our last episode. Now, Greg posed several questions on our last episode to the audience in general.
And
and mostly to me, and made me think. Best game you've ever played, favorite simple board games you never get bored of, funniest board game you've ever played, and games that you had high hopes for but let you down. So James was our only comment on what his answers to those would be. So thank you, James. You can still answer these if you wish. Go back and listen to episode 85 if you want the whole commentary. Anyway, best simple board game he never gets tired of is cribbage. I have never played cribbage.
I played cribbage. Because I played it with my mom.
I could see your parents having played it. Your parents were older than mine.
So I was very young when maybe no older than 10 years old.
See, I don't remember my parents ever playing cribbage.
I don't remember a lot about it.
Yeah.
I can't even remember it. I believe, I'll sound stupid. I think cribbage has the board with the pegs in it.
Right.
And
I thought we had one, so I'm surprised we didn't have to play it in the C's.
I do believe we did have one, or we
must not. We must have gotten rid of it because I don't remember ever playing it.
Like I said, it's been a long time since I played cribbage.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I've ever played it. All right. Funniest game, Detective Club. Sister laughed so hard she fell out of the chair.
Oh, and you don't have video? Jeez.
I know, right?
Detective Club.
I've never played Detective Club.
Yeah.
But apparently we're going to have to check it out.
Yep.
But again, is it a game that's just funny, or was there something that happened in that game that made it funny, like Sakura did for us?
Mm-hmm.
You know? All right. Games I had high hopes for but failed. He listed Everdell and Lost Ruins of Arnak. Both were misses.
Which were both in our top 100.
Yes, which I could see.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see, especially Lost Ruins of Arnak. That one was very close to being a miss for me until some of the expansions came out.
Yes, yeah,
because it got old quickly.
Yeah, I wasn't big fan of Lost Ruins of Arnak base game.
You're right.
when the first expansion came out that added
The
the
asymmetric
asymmetric powers,
Yeah.
I felt a little bit more. And then the last one, not the most recent one that hasn't actually delivered yet,
Yeah.
but the last one that made it a co-op
Right.
made the game for me. I loved it as
Yes.
a co-op
I do too.
because I could
agree.
actually had a chance to win it.
Yeah. And Everdell, I could see that. I could see how it would be a miss for some people because it is I enjoy the game, but I think I like the tableau building part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even sure I like the worker placement part of it, but I don't know. I do enjoy the game. I do like it. It is in my top 100, I think.
Yeah, I know
Was it?
it's like top 50 for me.
Is it? Okay. I don't know. But anyway.
Spoilers. But if you haven't watched the videos, but yeah, I really enjoy the tableau building
Yeah.
of that and
Yeah.
trying to. The frustrating
Maximize
part is knowing you have to go to this one spot because you need this resource, and then before your turn comes up, everybody covers those up, and now you're like got to pivot. It's like going, great. Now what do I got to do?
How do I get this? Yes. No, and I do enjoy that aspect of trying to maximize what you can do in a season and that piece. But yeah. But I think that's a perfect example of not every game is built for everybody.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, because
very
there's games that
popular
I
games
absolutely do not like, and people like Inish.
Yeah.
People love that game.
They
and
do,
just
and I
did
don't
not
care
like
for it.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Agricola. People love that game, and I absolutely hate that game.
But yet you like Caverna.
I like Caverna, but I
Yep.
think it's the card thing.
Yeah,
trying
I
to figure
know.
out how to get
I
those
know.
cards played. Anyway, that's a long tangent. We don't want to go there.
Okay. All right. So thank you, James, for your comment. Greatly appreciated. If you want to, if anybody else wishes to comment, by all means, do so.
So now we got comments from the top 100 already.
We did. We've gotten quite a few.
So video 91 to or 100 to 91. This
Right.
was from our buddy David from Australia.
Yes.
He says the amount of actions is the big problem with the worm span. The game drags on way too long. That is the part of the game I like.
I know.
'Cause
I know.
I understand why the way Wingspan does it, where at the end of the round you do the scoring and you lose an action.
Right.
I hate that. I hate
It's
losing
supposed
action.
to make it tighter as you get further on.
And faster because everybody doesn't have so many. But I really enjoyed Wormspan because I could get extra actions. Because in our game there was times I had like 3 more actions to go, and you guys were all done. So I was like, good, I have free reign. Let's see, what do I want to do? I like that. Now, I think there's another game out there that I didn't like it in, but not, for some reason I'm blocking it out. But
Okay.
no, I understand
Where
the
he's
whole
coming
point
from,
that
yes.
it drags it on, though. But that
It
is the
does.
one thing about the game I really like.
Well, again,
So we disagree on
to
2
each their own.
things.
Yep. Yeah, because he comes in with another one down further. We'll go ahead and jump to that now because David also commented on 71 to 80. I'm with Katie on Galaxy Trucker, an awful game. You love this game.
Yeah, and I think we addressed this already.
We
but
did, but it's not a game for me. We'll
Right.
leave it at that.
I did not like the game the first time we played it
Okay.
because I was like, it's blowing up my ship. I can't get anywhere. What is going on? Then I realized,
You have
Dude,
to embrace the
dude,
chaos
this
in
is
this
the,
one.
this is the part of the game.
Yeah. You have
You're-
to embrace that chaos.
You are trying to put together a ship out of
Uh-huh.
a junkyard, basically, to fly materials and get to where you need to go. But knowing that you're going to be boarded by pirates, you're going to be shot at, you're going to have asteroids ripping half of your ship apart.
Uh-huh.
It's just fun to see how much of your ship
We'll
is going to
survive.
make it to the finish line, and are
Well-
you going to be in the lead?
And I don't even mind that part of it. I don't care if my ship gets blown up, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That is the game. I don't like the stress of building it.
The
I
real-time
don't like
part.
that real time section of it.
Mhm.
That's the part I dislike.
I think that's one of the best parts of the game.
I
but-
don't care for that part. Anyway, moving on.
Okay, so
Back up to the second set, 90 to 81. James Brazil commented, and I've already addressed this in a comment back to him. 87, which I was
Talking about
Azul
Azuls.
Garden, Queen's Garden.
mm-hmm.
I labeled it as the third in the series. It's actually the fourth in the series,
Yes.
and James called me out on it, and that's fine because he is totally correct. I commented back to him that I had to go back and listen to this one. Yeah.
He says 87, I believe, was fourth in the series.
Said, yeah, my comment was I had to go back and listen to that one. Third, geez. Apparently, I didn't catch that during editing, but you are right. Azul's Queen Garden is the fourth installment in the Azul series. I knew that, and I did. I don't know why I said it was third. Pressure of the lights being on and the cameras rolling. I don't know. So thanks for catching that, James. You are absolutely correct. All right. In 71 to 80, in addition to the Galaxy Trucker comment from David, we got a comment from Jeremy Johnson. And then, oh, I see. That last part must be a year because it's written in Roman numerals. Anyway, we won't go into the year. Jeremy Johnson. St. Terra doesn't get enough notice. Gnome Hollow is one of my favorite games from last year. I think both of them showed up in that list, obviously. St. Terra shows up in mine. I, off the top of my head, do not remember what number. I absolutely adore that game.
Yes, I know.
It is a pick up and deliver based in the hills in Italy, in the coast of Italy, and I absolutely love that game. But
yeah, I'll play the game. It's not something I'm pulling off.
It is not one of those that is championed by very many people.
No.
I think it's Mike DeLisio and me.
And apparently Jeremy.
And
He
apparently
likes it too.
Jeremy. Okay, moving on. We got...
Oh, you had no comments for Gnome Hollow?
Oh, I'm sorry. Gnome Hollow is one of my... Yes, I agree. Gnome Hollow was really good. We've played it a few times now, and I really, really
It's
enjoyed
good.
that one.
I
I
don't
don't remember
think
who's
it
showed up on.
I don't believe it made my top 100.
Did it not? Okay, so it must have been on my list.
Yep.
Okay.
So GD Kadad, which is we
discovered was Winston. Yes.
He says, "Love Terminus." I like Terminus.
Yep.
Or Terminus.
Terminus.
Way
I'm not sure how it's
and
pronounced.
shout out to Root Shirt Guy.
Who is the one who introduced us to Terminus or Terminus and taught us the game and won the game because he took advantage of my mistake made in the last stinking round of the game. Otherwise, I'd have beat him. I was so upset with myself.
So if you're new to the thing and wondering who the heck is Root Shirt Guy, Root Shirt Guy is a friend of ours named Matt, and we met him at Dice Tower West.
Yes.
He's at the Dice Tower retreats and everything, and he comes here for Gen Con, stays with us, and hangs out with us at Gen Con. But he always has a Root shirt on, a T-shirt that says Root, the board game on it. He has a sweatshirt. Actually one of the zip-up sweatshirts and T-shirts.
T-shirt, every color
So
of
he's
the
always
rainbow.
in a Root shirt. So it's actually the brothers Murph that called him Root Shirt Guy.
And he made the mistake of telling us.
And now we are on that. And
that bandwagon.
He is now Root Shirt Guy to everybody.
Yep. Okay, and the last comment we've got was from one I just released not too long ago, actually. This one came through this morning on 41 to 50. Says, love, and this is from Jeremy Johnson again, love seeing Yukon Airways on the list. Yes, I do very much enjoy Yukon Airways. We need to get it back to the table. I'm afraid it's going to wait till we get to the Ys. Hopefully it doesn't take that long because I do very much enjoy this one. But it is a pick up and deliver based in the Yukon area of the country.
Yep. I don't remember if it made mine or not. Let us know if I did.
I did not. I don't think it did, no.
I think it needed more plays.
It probably does. So, but anyway, that is all the comments we've had to go over. We didn't have any questions this week. So by all means, if you have any questions and or comments, let us know.
Okay, something old, something new, something borrowed, and something that blew. The working title. If you have an idea of what this is when we take a game and we deep dive it. It used to be we'd take 4 games and tell you if it was old, new, borrowed, or it blew.
And we just talked a little bit about each one, which some weeks might still be easier.
Right.
Because it might be easier to talk about 4 games we've gotten played in the last 2 weeks than it is to deep dive one game we've only gotten played once or twice.
We usually try and play it more than that.
Well, yes, but it's harder to get them played sometimes.
So people have the whole title, deep dive in the game, or they're there's other ones out there. What is it? Their highlighted game of the week or whatever. Let us know if you have a interesting title for this, and maybe we'll change it to that. Anyway, so this week we are talking about Scoville, more the second edition, because that's the edition we have. I tried getting the first edition, but of course,
well, it was very hard to get.
yes,
and then
it was out of print.
So we kind of gave up.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and I'm sure we could have gotten a copy, but it was never quite bucket list type of thing. It was never a Grail game. And then, like I said, second edition. They announced second edition, so we thought, we'll just wait.
Yep.
So we did.
Which is cool because the second edition comes with
the expansion.
Yeah. So Scoville, second edition, was released in 2025. The original game was released in 2014. The designer is Ed Marriott. The artist for second edition is Vincent Dutrait, published by Trick or Treat Studios, and you can find it between $40 to $50.
I know we paid the MSRP is $59. That's what we paid for it. Mm-hmm. Apparently, we paid too much, but we paid $59 for it. So Scoville, Scoville is kind of a production game.
Mm-hmm. Kind of.
Yeah, you're producing to make resources. Okay, so on the front of the rule book, they list the real story of Scoville and the fake story of Scoville. We're going to start with the fake because it's more fun. The town of Scoville was founded in Wilbur's honor as a home for those who believe that the hottest peppers are the best peppers. Every year around this time, the town hosts the Scoville Chili Pepper Festival. The festival includes fundraising auctions for the local high school, Go Flames, a huge farmers market, incredible prizes for growers who plant the fieriest peppers, and the world-famous Scoville Chili Cook-Off. Well, of course, you got to have a chili cook-off. Anyway, where competitors try to scorch their way to victory with the wildest concoctions. The festival only lasts one day, and the grower that can generate the most heat will take home this year's trophy. Are you ready to feel the burn? That's the fake story.
And the real story?
Okay, so the real story of Scoville. Wilbur Scoville was born on January 22nd, 1865. The world would never be the same. In 1912, Scoville developed the Scoville... What the heck is that word?
I don't know. You have it in front of you. I don't see it.
Scoville organoleptic test. Organopeltic. I am totally butchering that.
They invented a test.
Organopeltic test, the SOT, which was used to measure the hotness of peppers. The Scoville's test is still used to measure the, and I know this is a common word, the capsaicin, capsaicin, capsaicin. If I am mispronouncing that, I apologize. I don't do peppers. Scoville's test is still used to measure the capsaicin in a pepper, expressed as Scoville heat units. Ever since, people have tried to breed hotter and hotter peppers. That real story was hard to read. Okay, so the idea with Scoville is that you are basically breeding peppers. Out in the middle of the board is a huge farm field with little pepper outlines all over them. The game starts with you're trying to read those words, aren't you? I handed him the rule book and he's trying to read those words.
You're right.
So out in the middle of the board is a section where you start with 2 peppers. And the 2 peppers are one of the 3, either red, yellow, or blue. And there's always a mixture. On your turn, you are planting a pepper. You always have to plant first. Then you can move. Everybody plants first. So everybody starts the game with always a red, yellow, and blue pepper. After everybody's planted, someplace adjacent to an existing pepper, then whoever is last in turn order gets to move first. And you start on the starting square in the middle of the 2 starting peppers, and you can move 3 spaces. And as you move, if you land between 2 planted peppers, you get to take whatever that combination creates. For example, a red and a yellow are going to create an orange. A blue and a red are going to create purple. A red and a what did I leave off? Blue and yellow create a green. Those 3 are pretty simple. Then you get into the weird ones, like a green and an orange create a white. Okay, but a green and a blue create a tan. So it gets kind of funky at that point. But regardless, you're moving 3 times. You're taking whatever the result is of the 2 peppers on either side of you when you move, up to 3 times. After that round is over, then everybody goes through what is called the harvest, or I'm sorry, that's harvesting. You go through the fulfillment phase, where now in turn order again. So this is kind of weird because you plant in turn order, you harvest in reverse turn order, and then you fulfill in turn order. So it's constant back and forth. Fulfillment is you can sell off some peppers if you have a lot of them. You can fulfill recipes. There are chili recipes out there that call for certain types of peppers, and if you have the right peppers, you can fulfill a recipe, or you can fulfill a market card. There are also market cards on the board that, again, the number of recipes out, the number of market cards out, all depend on player count. But if you have the peppers required to fulfill one of the market cards, you can do that. The end of the game, or the game plays in 2 rounds. The end of the round is triggered by the number of market cards and recipes that are left out. And then again at the end of the game, and then you move to the afternoon phase. And then after that, we run out of market cards again, that ends the round. The game, that ends the game. So that's essentially how the game plays. I know, very top level, in a nutshell type of thing. After the game is over, you score everything up. You score up all your recipe cards, all your market cards, and then any coins you have. That is how the game plays. Again, very high level. We can dig into it a little further as we go.
So yeah, the time check on this. You don't always have to play the 2 rounds. It could happen at the end of the round on the first day could be it.
Yes, if you run out of recipe cards.
Yeah, if you don't have as many recipe cards as there are players, then the game will end.
Everybody goes after recipe cards and not market cards, game is going to end in the morning phase. Yeah.
But that's... You kind of control how long the game can go.
You can absolutely control how long the game goes, because if you don't go after the market cards, if you keep your peppers and you're working towards some of the harder cards and don't go after the easy cards, then you can absolutely control how long the game goes.
Yep. So I want to move up to planting.
Okay.
This is, I think...
I totally missed auction.
Yeah.
Okay.
At the beginning when you auction to see... It's a blind auction?
It's a blind auction. And the reason for this is because turn order is very important in this, because of the reverse turn order during the harvest phase.
Yes.
So everybody chooses how much they're going to bid, and this is really the only thing you spend coins on.
Yes.
They are victory points at the end of the game, but this is the only thing in the game you spend coins on.
Yeah, it's a 3-to-1 point thing for coins.
You blind bid to choose where you're going to go in turn order.
Yes.
Not necessarily first.
Right.
Maybe you want to go last because you want to make sure you harvest first. So therefore, you blind bid to get first crack at determining where you're going to go in turn order.
And that's where the strategy starts in this game.
Yes, it really
trying
does.
to figure out, where do I need to go in this turn order to do what I really want? Because in planting, as I was going to say, you have to, in turn order, you're putting out peppers by other peppers to make more routes that people can go through to make those peppers. And
there's like 8 different shades of peppers in this, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
1, 2,
look
3,
on the
4.
card.
There's like 10. There's 10 different shades of peppers in this. Red, yellow, blue.
Yep.
Green, orange, purple. And then you've got tan, white, charcoal, and ghost, which are clear.
And like I said, it starts out with 2 of the base colors automatically on the board, and then you've got to start placing out your peppers because you're trying to figure out your best route that you can take to get the peppers you want. And normally what you're putting out there is something, I need to make this color, so I'm going to put that there.
Somebody else might
But if
block
you're
you.
first, that's the part where in the harvesting that there could be a little bit of take that in it, because somebody could go up there and just take that pepper and land right there, and you can't go through or land on the same spot as another worker's at. So you got to be careful as to where you're placing. It's like going, if I place this here, is Katie going to come over here and take that pepper away from me by landing there? and staying there. And
right.
it could happen.
It could absolutely happen.
Do you like it? No, you're going to get upset. It's like, you just took the pepper I just planted. I needed that. I had to get this card. And it happened a couple times.
It does.
And in our games, we normally try and stay away from that. We know what the other player is trying to do, and we're not really mean players.
No. But there are times when it's like, okay, I'm going to slide through there and take advantage of that.
Yeah, if you slide through, it's fine. But it's when you actually stop on that area and you're like,
but if you only had 3 moves.
Right. Yeah, and you're trying to get as many peppers as you want.
And hence why there's so much strategy in possibly going last in the round instead of first.
Because once everybody places that pepper, that last person who places their pepper out gets to now act and say, where do I want to go?
Where am I moving to?
Who do I really want to mess up their strategy? And yeah, it's one of those games, you've got to realize that's in the game.
Yes.
To make this a fun game. And this is a fun game. And then the fulfillment cards, because you're like, you may have been the first one to do the harvest. Like, all right, I got all this, and I can get this card, or I can get that recipe, fulfill that market card, or whatever. And then the first person goes, and he can do as many things as he can do.
Well, you can do each one time.
Right.
So you can pick up one recipe card, you can pick up one market card, or you can sell one type of pepper.
Up to 5 peppers
at a time.
Up to
5 peppers of one color, yeah.
Right. But you could be all set up. It's like, okay, I've got that recipe and I've got that market card. That's going to give me a lot of points. And then somebody in before you goes and they take those, and now you're like going,
yep.
Well, I'm not getting anything this turn.
Nope.
And that happened in our games too.
Did it really? I don't think I ever took what you wanted.
Oh,
but
yeah,
okay.
you did. There was a couple times you took exactly what I was like, well, that was the only card I could get out of the market, and you just had to. Well, I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
You hear the sincerity in that. That's exactly what she tells you in game. But like I said, there is a lot of strategy in this, but you got to be able to pivot.
Yes.
This one, you have to be able to pivot what you're doing. You have to have more than just one plan on what you need to do that turn.
Right.
You guys like, okay, so if this happens, I can still go this way.
Right.
And that's how I was trying to do it. I was trying to make sure I had different ways to go.
Right.
So, and then I also tried to make sure I got the big peppers up as fast as I can. This also came with the labs.
The labs, it did.
Or labs. Is it called
I think it's
labs
called
or is
labs.
it called labs?
It's just Scoville labs, yeah.
But this one added a 3x3 square board that each player got.
Yeah.
And you could plant peppers out in the field, and on your turn you could select to plant a pepper in your planter box
in the lab,
in your lab. And then when another pepper would be planted beside the one you'd already planted, then it made a new pepper, and only you would automatically get it.
You're the only person who gets access to that
But you
pepper,
only get it the one time
when you first plant. Yes.
Right. So that made it a little easier because I had started doing it where I could constantly get the white peppers or the charcoal peppers, which helped making ghost peppers, which usually are the big point cards.
Those are the big point cards. All require ghost peppers, yes.
And I also had that out on the board. The area I just kept circling had ghost peppers in it.
Yes, I know, and I couldn't get in
and
there
I kept
and get you blocked.
stopping right on the ghost pepper one, so you couldn't get to the ghost pepper, so you were going to end up having to either find a way to make it or make it in your lab.
Yep, which I did not get too fast enough. So,
but you still almost beat me on that game.
It was close.
It was very close.
Yeah. It was close.
And the other game, you thought I was out in the lead, and you ended up beating me on that one, too. And I honestly thought I had the game.
Only because I managed to get that 22-point card at the very last round. That's the only reason I beat you. Is because I got that card.
And how did you get that 22
Because
card?
I got my hands on a ghost pepper finally.
Because I did end the game the round before.
Yes, I know.
Was being nice.
Totally
I'm like, go ahead.
Have.
I could end the game right now. I was like, do I want to? Because I think and at that point, I honestly thought I was like 20, 30 points ahead of you.
Oh, jeez.
I was like, I am way ahead of her.
Yep.
I'm going to be nice once.
You should know better than that because that never works out for you.
It never works out for you.
It never works out for me. That's true. It never works out for me.
So I was like, okay, actually, if I could do this, this, and this, I could get another one of those cards, and that'll give me some more points on the next round. Okay, let's do that. And I did not end the game, and then that was the round that you got that 22-point card, which
won the game. Because I think I won by 10 points.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
See, it doesn't pay to be nice sometimes to her.
Whatever. Anyway, all right. So those are the main 4 actions in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Is to do those 4 things. The only thing I would say negative about this would be the turn structure. Ironically, what we just went through, only because, especially in 2-player, maybe it would be more clear in a larger player count. And we've played this 4-player. We did play the original version at Dice Tower West a few years ago. And I remember liking the gameplay. I didn't like the components because they were the wooden peppers and it was hard to get them. They were fiddly, trying to get them turned over to put into the fields properly because it's just the way they were. And I kind of sidetracked over what I was originally saying. Now, in the 2nd edition, they are these nice little plastic peppers. The hard part now is picking them up because they're rounded. So trying to get them up off the mats is...
Yes, but the reason they did that is because it makes it capable for colorblind people.
Oh, yeah, no, I get that.
Have you looked at the peppers? Because each pepper has the letter that the pepper starts with.
Yep, nope, and I totally get that. And I think they're very pretty. I think they're much prettier than they were in the original version. They're just hard to pick up off of the table.
Yeah, because of the rounded tops. Because they're shaped more like a pepper.
Exactly, they are. So, yes, good and bad here.
So, talking about those, what about artwork? What do you think?
I think the artwork's fine, yeah.
I've always liked Vincent Dutrait artwork anyway.
I think the artwork's fine. It's very pretty.
Because the old artwork kind of reminded me of like, the artist for Agricola and Caverna and all that. Why that guy's name's being blocked out of my head for some reason. I don't remember. Anyway, it reminds me of that artwork.
The artist on the original game was Josh Capel.
Yeah, that's not.
No, that's not the guy who did the other one. Okay.
But this,
and now it's Vincent Dutrait.
Yeah. Okay. But this, the artwork on just reminded me a lot of that one from Clemens Franz. That was his name.
I like the artwork. I think it's very, all of the iconography is very clear. Even the graphic design of it's all very clear. I had no problems with the artwork. I had no problems with what does this card mean. Everything was 100% clear. No problems there at all. But back to the turn structure. In a 2-player game, it was like me, you, me. It was very confusing. I kept having to think, okay, where was I? Because my instinct was to plant and then move. Nope, wait, I'm first this round. I can't do that. But if I'm second in the round, then yes, I plant and then move. It got very confusing, if that makes any sense. Now, in a larger player count, it might not. I don't remember it being an issue in the first game we ever played when we played it 4-player. I'd be curious to play it 4-player again and see if that still holds true or if it's just a me problem. You know what I mean?
It might be a you problem.
It might be a me problem.
Yeah, we were having that a little bit. It was like, whose turn is it?
Whose turn is it? What did I just do? I don't remember. Did I? I don't think I just moved. No, I don't have any extra peppers in front of me, so I couldn't have just moved. Yeah, it was.
Well, it's not like it shows you on the board who went first, who went second, and right just below it tells you what round it is and which way the.
That didn't help. It didn't. Yeah, I know. It's all outlined on the board very clearly. Still did not help with the confusion of, wait, did I already go?
That part, yes.
So, yeah. That would be my one complaint of the game is, and I get why they did it. I get the fact that first would be way too powerful if you planted, harvested, and got to fulfill all first. I totally get the reverse turn order on harvesting. Doesn't mean it's not confusing.
Okay, so in-game, how the in-game scores is that every $3 is a point.
Yep.
You have points on your recipe cards, the chili cook-off, and you have points on your market cards sometimes. Not all of the market cards have points on them.
Most of them had at least a point on them, but
but not all of them did. Some of them did not. They gave you more peppers.
Oh, okay.
And then what was the other things on there? Market cards, recipe cards. Oh, the plaques. We haven't even talked about the plaques.
We haven't even talked about the plaques.
If there was plaques out there, there was one that has a green, orange, and purple pepper. If you planted one out in the field of that color, you got the top plaque, and that gave you points. or if you planted the first white
pepper, the first charcoal pepper, ghost pepper. I think that was it.
And I do think that was all.
Yeah, that was it. White, charcoal, ghost. Oh, and tan. There was one for tan.
Oh yeah,
as well.
There was a tan one, which looked brown on the boards, but
well, in the original game it was brown. Yeah, but I get why they made it tan
because there was a blue.
Because of
the
blue.
For the color blindness, there was a B on the blue.
The color blindness correction on this one is they put the first initial of that
color,
the color. Because in the original game, charcoal was black and tan was brown.
Yes.
But that would be 3 Bs. So they instead changed it to tan and charcoal so that none of the letters repeated themselves.
Right.
Which is fine. I just kept calling it brown because that's what I was used to from the original game.
Okay, but yeah, so it's market cards, recipe cards, plat cards, bonus tiles, which I don't remember. Oh, you do have little tiles that gives you little extra things you can do, like plant an extra pepper or move one more space or turn around and
to do one about face.
And then with the with the lab expansion, you got another extra plant.
Yes. So.
And then there was cards from the lab that gave you some turnaround or an extra power. You could use the power, and then you had to get rid of the card and not
some
get
of the
the
market
points
cards.
For
yes,
some of
the market cards that gave you a power. If you didn't use it, then you got the points from the card. If you did use it, you had to discard the card.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, there are those extra actions that everybody starts the game with. If you don't use them, they're 4 points each.
Yeah, so that's what they're talking about, the bonus cards.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, 1 point for every $3, and the highest score wins. So, final thoughts?
I enjoy the game. I enjoy the thought process behind the game. There's a lot of thinking to this one because it's a matter of it's a big Excel chart as to the color coordination. And eventually you get it down, what makes what color. It gets very confusing when you have a purple and an orange and it makes a white, but you have a blue and an orange, it makes a tan. That gets a little confusing because it's not intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
But your basic three are very intuitive. There's your standard color chart. But I like the thought process behind it. I didn't even mind the AP. I think all things considered, it went pretty quick, even though both of us suffered from a little bit of AP and trying to figure out which color were we going to plant so that we could get the color we needed. Like I said, the only thing that really confused me was the turn structure, which I get why they do it, but to me it was still a little confusing. I don't know if there's a way to fix that. I don't think there's a house rule that will help that. It just is what it is. Otherwise, I very much enjoyed the game.
Recommendation?
Okay, so my first thought goes back to, we played this originally at the Dice Tower Retreat with Jeff and Eric. Jeff enjoyed it enough, he tracked down an original copy of the game a couple years ago. He has played this with Daniel. Daniel did not like this because of the color matching, because of this Excel chart of color matching. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'll put a picture of the Excel chart up. It's kind of confusing, and I felt like even after 3 or 4 games, I was still going back to it constantly because I couldn't remember what things did. I could see that being frustrating. I think it's a good game, but I would definitely prepare yourself for a little bit of frustration over this color chart. But beyond that, I don't know. Take that for what it's worth, I guess. But I would definitely give it a try if you get a chance.
Okay, so I felt in this game, I kind of felt like the game Bazaar kind of had a Bazaar vibe because you're trying to take this and this to make that. Which is like in Bazaar, I have these gems, I need to make those gems, and if I go to this stall, they'll take those gems and give me these gems. It kind of had a feel of it like that. Talking about the Scoville Almanac that you're calling the Excel spread, I didn't have a problem with this. I understand how you were. I just looked at it and was like, I need this color pepper. What makes it? So I would look at that color pepper. I was like, what makes that color pepper? Well, I know everything pretty much makes brown. And I was like, what do I need to make a white? And I could look on here and it's like, okay, so that can make white, that can make white, that can make white. And I could look out on the board and like, oh, and I have that pepper to do that, so I can make a white over there. Okay, I found it pretty easy because brown versus brown makes nothing except for 2 browns. So if you're mixing brown with anything else, it's going to give you nothing. So you try to stay away from that. And on the board, it shows you all the X's in there. The one thing I didn't understand on that board is like you were saying, like 2 reds makes 2 reds. A yellow and a yellow gives you 2 yellows. A blue and a blue gives you 2 blues. A green and a green gives you charcoal. It's like, what? Some of it, like I said, does not make sense. I mean, orange and orange gives you charcoal. Purple and purple gives you charcoal. So if it's not a base color, a primary color, it's going to give you charcoal. And if you mix a primary color and a non-primary color, you're going to get brown. Mostly, but usually if it's a non-primary and a non-primary, now you're going to get white. The logic behind it, I understand your frustration. The logic did not really make much sense because a brown and a tan and a tan, I call it brown because we've played the original and it was brown. A tan and a tan get you 2 tans. And a ghost gets you 2 ghosts, and a charcoal and a charcoal gets you 2 charcoals, and a white gets you 2 whites. But it's the non-primary ones that are not giving you the doubles of it. It just gives you charcoal. But like I said, I don't think I had the problem with it as much as you did on that. Like I said, if anything, if I needed a pepper, I just looked on and was like, okay, that makes those peppers. Let's see, is there any place out on the board that I can make those peppers at? And it worked out great. The rounds I get your point. Yeah, there was times we was like, what round? Where are we at? What are we doing? And there was times we forgot to check how many market cards were up there. It was like, oh, we should have been we should have been in the afternoon phase like last round, I think, because there's only 2 cards left up there. Or no, it had to be less than the player count.
Less than the player count.
So, and I think there's plenty of times we played it that we changed it out at only 2 instead of just 1. Mm-hmm. So we kind of played it wrong there. But it really didn't make a difference because you don't put any more daytime ones out. The daytime ones, there's a good stack of daytime cards in this game that you only put out a certain amount depending on player count, and that's the only day ones you get. Then the afternoon ones come out, and then you only fill that once too. So the stack of cards there gives you plenty of replayability because you're going to see different cards. And with the lab, it adds more cards to it. Same with the chili one, the chili cook-off, which you're going to see more cards with. Mm-hmm. I really like the game. But as you said, I would recommend it if you really like those type of games, like trying you're trying to make this and this into something else to get a reward for it.
Production type game, yeah.
If that's not your type of game, you probably won't like it.
Yeah.
But I would recommend it, at least trying it out, see if you like it. But I really like the game. Okay, so that is our thoughts on Scoville. Let us know what your thoughts on Scoville. Have you played it? Do you want to play it? Let us know. So this is going to do it for episode 86. If you like this episode or any of our content and haven't subscribed to the podcast, please do so by going to iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. While you're there, give us a rating and a comment. This is how others find the show. But in the meantime, if you want to follow us on social media just to keep up and see what we're doing, just follow the links in the show notes. There you'll find links to our Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, YouTube, Threads, Discord, Blue Sky, and our merch shop. Or you can contact us directly at meeplesociety@mail.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you at the next one.